All right, we got Dan Kelly and Jennifer Kelly, right?
Yes.
Okay, you're both here. Thanks for being here. You guys own Trinity Excavation down in Bandera, but they do work here in Kerrville. What is the strangest thing you've ever excavated?
Oh, wow.
First right off the bat.
Oh, the strangest thing we've ever...
Have you got any bones or anything? You got any, like, fossils?
Lots of fossils.
No, we have pulled up... Yeah, we have pulled up some fossils about half the size of your desk.
Oh, really?
Big nautilus fossils, giant. You know, so we'll take the excavator hammering out some of the rock hills to get a slope, right?
Yeah.
And we have big blocks of them that we kept. I was paying my guys to pull them out of the rock. I'm like, just hammer it out, get it out, let's build a road. And they said, oh, no, there's fossils. So I think I probably got $4 or $5 grand into getting them all, but they're pretty cool.
Right. How difficult is it to excavate in the hill country?
Yeah.
There's a question for people.
Explain that.
So look, we were super blessed because I didn't know any different. We're from Bandera, right?
Yeah.
And so we just pushed dirt and caliche and rock and everything for a few years. And then when we started working in other areas, I'm like, this is a cakewalk.
Wait a second.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, hold on, wait, that's dirt? You know
Do you have to order like a bigger blade for those excavators, like to manage like a is there a size you have to order for these things?
For us and what we do, there is.
Yeah.
It's all about weight, right? You know, we were toying around with little bobcats and little excavators, minis and everything, which is what a lot of the hill country uses. Once we started hitting that 50 to 90,000 pound range on our machines, we were able to really build neighborhoods, move mountains, you know?
Right.
And it really is, it's the right tool for the right job. So up here, we need heavy equipment.
Dan, you got a bigger, broader story, but I'm always kind of fascinated in this, like, 'cause this is like, the people don't realize if you see it here, excavating in Kerrville is tough. I mean, because there's hills and there's a lot of rock you got to go through. But I mean, there's some skill attached to this. You just can't knock stuff over.
Yeah, I mean, you can knock cedar over, but as far as truly trying to get through around up here, no, it does. It takes a lot, and it's a learning process.
How's the technology changing? What's the technology look like these days?
To be honest with you, if you're willing to pay for the right technology, it makes this game almost a no-brainer.
Really?
So we use TopCon GPS on all of our equipment. Basically, there's a map and a screen on the computer in the machine, and you push the button, and the machine will build the road according to the engineered plans.
Wow.
Right?
That's crazy.
You know, in the old days, man, like, I'm an older guy, and so I operate all by feel. My younger guys are very tech savvy. And so when I put them on the machines with all the buttons and computers and all the technology, they're killing it.
Yeah,
you know?
I bet.
Well, and they're gamers too, so they're
the young generation is also gamers and they seem to figure it out.
What the heck? So it's like real life Minecraft.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
In fact,
It's
I
much
took
more
a bunch
complicated
of my
than
guys
that.
to go see Minecraft the other day just for that. For real, I did.
That's great.
Did anyone throw popcorn during the chicken thing? Was it chicken?
Cash really wanted to.
They wanted to, and I made sure it didn't happen on my end.
Okay.
Yeah, they really wanted to.
This is interesting, though. I'm fascinated by this work because, you know, it's like you think about the old school way of doing it. You had to like get out, probably measure, you know, do a lot of surveying. Now it's just gotten to be the technology really does a lot of the heavy lifting now.
It really does. And so, you know, we've incorporated AI into Trinity.
Oh, really? Okay.
We've also, instead of blue topping any of our job sites, which is the old school way, you come out and you put stakes in the ground and lift it, or, you know, we've done all TopCon, all machine controlled GPS.
Yeah.
And I think it gives us a little bit of an edge on being able to make sure that we're moving faster and we're getting it right the first time.
That's great. That's great. Before we started with the show, and you know, now, listen, there's trip hazards back there. Be careful, okay? He's good. He's good. He's doing good. I like this. Get some elevations, get some angles. Good. Making some progress here with this kid.
Thank you for letting him do that.
Oh no, it's all right. Libby knows that she's tortured by me all the time with photos.
It's fine. I'll be in an event, and then all of a sudden Lewis is behind the corner with a camera. I'm like, oh my god, I forgot you were here in the theater.
Yeah. You know, Dan, you told us the story kind of as you were going into this before we got started. 9 years ago, this was not going to happen for you, right?
No,
a decade ago, it's not going to happen for you. Tell us about that journey.
You know, I made every wrong decision possible.
Yeah.
I had a severe problem with drugs and alcohol, and I didn't have anything.
Yeah.
And I was a single dad trying to figure out how to live. And little by little, God started to change my heart and build this business. He opened a lot of doors for us that I never could have imagined or thought that would be my life. And it was, it's a journey, you know?
Because that's the thing, that it's so hard for people to overcome that addiction. And, you know, at what point, you know, did you get to a really low point, or what was your lowest point, I guess, in that aha moment, that awakening, or hearing the Spirit, or whatever it may have been for you?
Do you really want to know?
Yeah, I'd love to.
I had an ex-girlfriend stab me and almost killed me. And I decided it was time to get sober.
Yeah.
I said that.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kerrville.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what happened. God changed my life.
Literally.
Literally.
Yeah.
Stab him.
Flipped
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that would do it though.
Yeah.
Because you're not only are you drunk or high, you're also bleeding. All those things happen to you, and now you've got to deal with this. How hard was the? And I've said this before about addiction. I always love what Robert Downey Jr. said about addiction. He says the hard part isn't quitting. Mm-hmm. It's staying off of it. Basically, it's wanting to do it. It's wanting to quit. That's the hard part, and that's part of the journey.
You know, the hard part for me was learning how to live through tough times in life, emotional and spiritual struggles, and not hide from those things with chemicals.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So most of us that have addiction history are trying to hide from our feelings. And so when you make that decision that you're going to put all that down and you're going to have a different life, now all of your feelings you have to feel and process.
Yep.
And it's really hard because we've spent 20 or 30 years hiding from them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so then you have to learn how to love again. You have to learn how to be mad and not yell. You have to learn.
Sit with yourself and really learn who you are. Yeah. Which I feel like that's the hardest.
I think, you know, and I think though that sometimes like people cynically can say like, you know, oh, well, you're just using, you know, Jesus or religion as a crutch. And I'm like, no. You know, I think that if it works for you, it's going to heal you in some ways. Yeah. You know, and I've told this family members, like, I don't know what to do with some family members, right? But I think like I look at people who have like a faith journey, and that's such a critically important part of their recovery, you know, and for you, that's kind of taken part of your business too, right? And your family.
All the way. So look, I don't know anything about how a corporation runs. I don't know anything about other construction companies because I never worked for them. So then what I tried to do with Trinity was say, okay, I'm going to try to put our business models as close in line as with God's word as I can, right? And then rather than trying to figure out how to make a job last a few more hours or charge a little bit more here or there, our motive has always been to do the best job that we can and work as hard as we can and trust God to bring the next job up. And so it's really changed. I get a lot of developers, a lot of engineers, a lot of county inspectors, and they come to me and they're like, yeah, you're not like any other company. And I'm like, at first I'm kind of feeling like I was not worthy or not good enough. Then I started to realize they're happy with it because we're not like the other people. Because
you had some imposter syndrome and you made it work. You got through it because you knew you had a kind of a calling almost in some ways, right?
Yeah.
And you have in your job, you have a kind of like give back strategy, and tell us a little bit about that idea.
So, look, I'm 51 years old and I'm a fat, bald, white guy. I'm not a Christian rapper. I'm not a rap guy. And at some point, Christian hip hop was put on my table and it really spoke to my heart.
Yeah.
And so my son and I, who owns part of the business with me, made a commitment for every neighborhood that we build the infrastructure for, we will put on a free Christian rap concert. And when we do this, we go to the sober living homes, we go to the rehabs, we go to the battered women's shelter. We try to get as many of the people that are broken as possible to come out.
Yeah.
Right? And it is a concert, but ultimately in the end, there's an altar call. And so we made that commitment, Connor and I did. And it seems like we just keep getting new neighborhoods. So we started in Kerrville, Gatesville, Waco, Grand Prairie, Bandera.
Started the concert.
The concerts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then now we're in the prisons. So we did, week-long tours in prisons and hit multiple prisons in a week. And I think we did 10 prisons in death row and taking the concerts in there and the prayer. And so I know where my life was, and I know the only reason I'm not behind those bars is because Jesus changed my life, and because he's blessed us, we try to get back to those broken people as well.
Right. Tell us, though, about the growth of the business, though. So you started out, you worked to overcome addiction. You talked about, a little bit of your journey here. And the business has grown to what now? What have you accomplished so far in this business?
Well, so Connor and I started out cutting cedar posts.
Okay.
And you're from Kerrville.
Yeah.
You know how hard that is, right?
Yeah.
So we were two beach bums trying to cut cedar posts in the hill country. I didn't even know a chainsaw took oil.
Yeah.
No lie, right?
Right.
And so it was a challenge. And I was a single dad just trying to buy groceries and soccer shoes for the kid and everything. And as life started to grow, we went from cutting a small trailer of posts to now we have 29 pieces of large equipment, not skid steers and minis. We have built and completed over 22 miles of new road in the past 24 months. We are from Gatesville, Waco, all the way outside of Austin and Bastrop to Bandera, South Texas. We'll go wherever. We've built a lot of big neighborhoods.
And so excavation, when people who aren't familiar, how would you describe the business, though? Like, you have the big machines. Do you have like videos of your machines? Because people love to watch that stuff, by the way.
We do, yeah. We have a website that has a media page, and it's got drone footage on all of our large projects.
Okay.
It's Trinity Excavation, tx.com. And so we try to upload drone footage on everything that is sizable. I mean, if we're building a driveway and putting in a culvert for somebody, chances are it's not on there. But if it's one of the neighborhood projects that we've done, it's on there. And then we've also done a lot of metal building work, large commercial storage buildings, and the dirt work for that.
Yes.
That's cool.
Big
I like
trucks.
drone footage. But I have a question about these rap concerts.
Sure.
Are you rapping at these?
Oh, I'm not rapping.
Oh, okay.
Look, the guys
I was really hoping it was you.
No, the artists are like, hey, what's your rap name? We're in prison the first time, and they're like, you need a rap name. And I'm like, dude, I'm a 50-year-old.
So who's rapping? Who's doing these concerts?
So ASAP Preach is one of the artists, Big Yeet, Rare Breed, Brother Bo. In prison, they have an app that they're allowed to listen to. It's called the Pando app. And so these guys are the #1 artists in prison.
Oh, nice.
Right? Because in prison, they can only listen to faith-based music. They can't listen to regular rap music.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And so these guys, face tattoos, I mean, they all have the same story. I have most of them. And yeah, we go in and they rap and I pray.
Cool. Okay, yeah, I just didn't know. I was like, who's performing?
Not me.
What's the lineup?
No, ma'am.
What's going on? That's cool, though. That's really cool.
I'm gonna. Is your?
Yeah, I just see a bunch of files, though.
You see my messy desktop.
That's okay.
Okay. So this is you got a site. If you're watching the site now,
Hell yeah.
There you go. Look at that.
That's cool.
That's a little ASMR for you right there. Excavation and land clearing. So you start off like clearing cedar posts, and then you were like, "This is awful," right? And then you did something else.
Well, no. Look, I didn't know any better. I probably would have kept cutting posts for the next 20 years if God didn't kind of nudge me. We went to do a fence repair for one guy.
Yeah.
And he looked at his road crew and he said, "You can do this, can't you?" And I told him I never have, but I think we can. And he fired the other road crew, and we built a neighborhood for 6.5 miles.
That's great. That is great.
And I said, "Okay, God, if this is where you want us, show us how to do it. Guide us through this way."
A little issue with the audio, but we'll get it fixed.
No, that's fine. I mean, this stuff is pretty cool.
It is. Hold on. Get off this. All right. So, I mean, that's part of it is that you've got this great business already, and you built it so quickly too. I mean, is there like a backlog of work now, or what's happening now?
We so I'm kind of divide everything between west and east of 35. Our guys in Bastrop, that's the first phase of a project that's 5 phases. We're there for a long time, probably 2.5 years.
Wow.
Bought a house there and everything. Our local guys here, they're doing more of the private ranch work. We did some, and I don't use names, but we did a very high-end clients' private roads. I think it was maybe 12 miles of ranch roads that ended up being asphalted. So my local guys are kind of working on some of the private stuff, and my guys away are working on neighborhoods.
Right. And Jennifer, what's your job? What do you do? How do you handle? What do you handle?
Oh, I just take care of my family.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
But you're advocating because you're the one that called me. You're like,
yes, because
how
I
do we get on
believe in these guys so much. I've watched them build their business from the ground up, and it's just been a beautiful thing to watch.
Yeah, I mean, and to build it so quickly. You know, did you ever have? Is that your new? I mean, sometimes with addiction, you kind of have to replace it with something else. But building and working, is that kind of what's replaced it for you? Or
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think we all have those sort of tendencies. I better hear that thing click. I want to hear it click, kid. Click.
Go.
No, back over there. I want to burn it. You got plenty. You got all day. Fire it up. So, I want to see animations. Okay. All right.
Nice.
That's great. I'm excited for you guys. This is exciting. This is exciting. A great story, a good news story as well. I mean, is that how you got to look at it too? Is like, look, I mean, 10 years ago, my life was so much different. Now you're in a much. How many people do you employ now?
19 full-time, another 6 or 7 part-time.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, could you even imagine that 10 years ago?
No. I mean, honestly, I had to go to my 10 or 11-year-old son 10 years ago for advice.
Whoa.
You know what I mean? So, like,
What did he
literally,
say to you? What did he say to you? What did your son say to you?
I said, Connor, here's all the money that I have. Don't give it to me and tell me what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
And he would say, okay, so well, let's go cut post. And I'd say, okay. I really could not make any real decisions. I was very lost.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so now God's given me a whole bunch of 20 to 25-year-old guys, right?
Yeah.
So to be the mentor for these guys, to be in their life, in Jen and Cash's life, it's really an honor,
gift.
honestly.
It's
Yeah.
a huge
It's a
gift.
huge
You could have
gift.
went
Right.
a completely different route.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're finding fossils.
We are finding fossils. We're
better.
finding fossils.
that's helping.
And taking pictures. We're training future photographers.
Yeah, that's right.
a good thing.
That's right. We're putting through a boot camp right now.
Yeah.
So what does the future look like for you
Oh,
and this family?
Yeah, what's the next step?
Yeah.
If there is one.
I think my next step would be to let my son and my foreman have more of a leadership role
Yeah.
in Trinity, so that I can back out and
Yeah,
we can
because you're
spend more
51.
time in
You have
prison.
one foot in the grave now. So.
I mean, yeah. I don't want to say it like that. I'll be real. It is an amazing blessing to be successful after you've had nothing, right?
Yeah.
And there's nothing still, no bank account, no job, no trip, that fills my heart as much as being in prison praying for those guys.
Yeah.
So if I could, my next step would be
Did you think you'd be in that position to be in?
Dude, I never thought I would go to prison and they'd let me out. You know, I thought maybe they might keep me one day, but no. It's
I mean, because you're in the depths of addiction, you're like one step away from it half the time.
Yes, sir.
You know, so, and what is it about the reaction from the prisoners though that when you meet with them, what is it they're like? What is it? How many of them do you think that are you hopeful for?
a lot. Look, I recognize that a lot of people can find Jesus in prison and lose him as soon as they walk out.
Yeah.
And I feel very blessed to be able to hold them and let them cry on me and pray for them.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had them crying so much, the full face tattoos, clown tattoos on their face, you know, horrible crimes. They're crying so much. My shirt and my jeans are soaking wet.
Yeah.
So I don't know where they go from there.
Yeah.
But in that moment,
Yeah.
they're able to release their spiritual trauma and be prayed for. And so how it looks in the end, I don't really know. But I know in that moment, I'm able to say, hey, here's a door and my Jesus is behind it.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Feel free to open it.
Feel free. I mean, feel free to, to take part of what I'm offering you.
That's it.
And I think what is what is your role though? Do you listen? How do you manage that? I mean, that's got to be emotionally trying to go in there, but you seem to kind of thrive on it a little
God,
bit.
it fills me up. So they don't, I mean, some of them just want to talk, but the majority of them are just grateful they're not forgotten.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can see a difference in prisoners that have family members that come and visit and call.
Yeah.
And then there's some that have no one.
Right.
And when you walk up to them and you say, hey, man, you're not forgotten. Jesus loves you and so do I. Can I give you a hug?
Right.
A lot of them will break down crying right there just with that because nobody has even told them they're worth anything for years and years and years. They're in there forever. You know what I mean? So being able to be that light in a dark place is a calling.
It's a great calling to have that as well, to be able to give that back. And I think that's to me that's the power of faith, is that if you can go into a place where there is sometimes no hope and give people, hey, I'm listening to you, I hear you. That's we were talking about that before you guys came on. We were talking about that quilting show that's on Netflix. You get a chance to watch about these guys in prison, and it's hopeful. Some of those guys aren't ever getting out, but they at least have a purpose, and they recognize, you know what, I'm not getting out of here. I got what I deserve.
So I got a message from one of the guys on death row, and it said, I thought I came to death row to die. Little did I know I came to death row to be born again. And I'm like, wow, the guy's, he knows he's going to be put to death.
Yeah.
And somehow, some way, he was so free in accepting Christ and leaving his past behind him. It's pretty incredible. And on death row, men's and women's, she's been to the women's with me. It's really surprising how many of those people have changed their hearts and have more freedom in their eyes and their spirit than most of the people I see walking around in the free world.
Right.
When you're stripped of everything, it makes you grateful for everything that you do have, which you may not have much. And I feel like even going to because like to me that's like the last step before. Like that's you knowing that there is an end, and then being stripped of all of that, stripped of your future. What else do you have? So, like the fact that they, that's their story, but it forces them to look at their life and to look at themselves. And it makes completely sense. Yeah. Like what you're saying, that's very human.
I want to say something real quick. What the prisoners have told me or us is that. When we get to go in there, it's not like a super churchy group. Yeah. Like we all love Jesus, but we're all in recovery and we all have the same story. We just didn't end up in prison. Yeah. And I think the relatability to the inmates is huge because of our background, because we're recovering addicts and, we choose to love them no matter what, Yeah. So I think that's been a huge bridge, like kind of bridge the gap.
Very good stuff, as always. This is what I love about our show. We can talk about quilting, and we can talk about excavating and Jesus all in the same thing.
And prison. You got it. We're all there.
The business is Trinity Excavation. They're based in Bandera. They've done work here in Kerrville. They give back. They have cool trucks.
I don't know what it is about trucks.
I don't know.
They're just like, it hauls a bunch of dirt.
Yeah, I mean, it's the right tool, right? Big, giant tires taller than you are. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's fun.
There's got to be something satisfying, though, too. To just dig. I mean, all of us like to dig. When I was a kid, I loved to dig in the dirt. I had the Tonka trucks. I mean, there's something satisfying about that.
Instant gratification.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to pull that thing. I'm going to pull that cedar right out.
Yeah, I think my guys feel like they're just 30-year-olds in a sandbox. Yeah, you know what I mean?
It's very primal.
They love it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and you're and it's difficult. It's difficult work too, because you can't mess up, because that's cash is money at that point. Time is money.
That's Cash's new camera, right?
Cash, yeah. All right.
Yes, sir.
Good job. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it very much. Again, Trinity Excavation. Thanks for. I'll have you guys come on again. I'd like to hear more about how you guys are progressing.
Thank you,
Libby. Tomorrow on the show. Guess what we're going to have tomorrow? We're going to have the valedictorians and salutatorians from Centerpoint.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I'm happy that this is. We're making some progress here with this. Last week we had Ingram and we had TFND. So TFND's graduation is on Friday, 8 o'clock at Antler Stadium. It's going to be hot. Just brace yourself for that, folks. It's going to be warm. It won't be as bad as last year. Was awful. I nearly died last year. So it was tough. And then so we'll have them on the show tomorrow. Leslie will be here tomorrow. I'm sure we'll have other people just show up, like Rebecca. Rebecca just showed up.
Loeb?
No, Rebecca Peterson.
Oh.
From
quilt.
From the quilting thing. So.
Oh, I thought that she was like a scheduled guest.
Oh no, she just stormed on the show.
She said, "Hey."
Yeah, it's like, hey, I want
to see my
quilting. Yeah, come see the quilting. And then Friday, Julie Davis will be back.
Cool.
So there we go. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot for being with us today. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks to the Kellys for being here. Thanks to Cash.
Yes.
How many photos did you take, Cash? How many? See,
1,200.
You better get a shot 1,000. So, all right, everybody. Thanks a lot for joining us. We'll see you guys again tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.